This episode of the Wendell Mayor Show features the Wendell Fire Department. Back in the day, serving on the fire department meant coming to the firehouse when you heard the bell and driving the water truck to the scene of the fire. Today, paid professional staff serve the Wendell Fire Department. Joining me today to share what our Wendell Fire Department does for our community is Fire Chief Brian Staples. Thank you so much for being my guest.
My pleasure, Mayor. Glad to be here.
When school children visit the town hall, they are very often asked to name services that are provided by towns, and the fire department is always their favorite response. And even though the Wendell Fire Department is not a department of the town, we do work together. So could you share with us some events and things that we do together?
We do a lot together with the town. We have a great working relationship with the town. We plan and get together on major events in the town, such as the July 4th parade, the event we just had early in May, the town's Public Safety Day. We're there for that. The Harvest Festival. Just about any event that goes on in the town, if there's going to be a large presence, we're involved in the planning and participate. And a lot of things we do with the town aren't planned events like this, but instead responses to storms, any hurricanes, or any kind of big events like that. And then another big event we do, even though it's not part of the town, is we always go stand by at all the football games at East Wake High School, both varsity and JV, in the case of an injury to a participant or a fan. So even though we're not a part of the town's department, we are very
part of the town.
We're part of the town.
Absolutely.
And a proud participant in everything the town does.
I've seen the trucks out there at the football games and things.
There.
I've seen them there. Tell me a little bit about the history of the Wendell Fire Department and how it came to be here in Wendell.
Well, like all small towns, the fire department was formed when just some members of the community decided we needed to do something to have a response in case there's a fire.
Yeah.
And from just bucket companies to purchasing equipment, the fire department was actually part of the town for a long time, up until about 1957. We chartered as the Wendell Rural Fire Company, and we're still housed in the building behind Town Hall and in Town Hall. And then in 1967, we chartered as the Wendell Homes Rural Fire Department Incorporated, and that's still our corporate name today. We're a private nonprofit corporation, and we're, like I said, even though we're not part of town, we've got the town's name proudly in our name, as well as on the side of all of our trucks. And since 67, that's been our corporate name. We were in Town Hall and down there until about 1983, and we built this building and moved out here to 2960 Wendell Boulevard in '84.
So how many fire stations do y'all have today?
We currently have two. The main station, which is here at 2960 Wendell Boulevard, and then we have a second smaller substation at 6529 Bethany Church Road, which is off Roseville Road,
right
up in that part of in the rural district. And then soon, later this year, the county, Wake County, will be beginning construction on what will be our third station
on Wendell Falls Parkway.
Wendell Falls Parkway. So it'll be the Public Safety Center, which will house the Wendell Fire Department, as well as Eastern Wake EMS will have a presence out there.
That'll be wonderful.
Yep, we can't wait to get out there.
I bet. Okay, so with recent annexations and growth and new citizens calling Wendell home, how has that growth affected the fire department?
Well, with more growth and more people just equals more calls.
Right.
And we've been currently averaging about 2,000 calls a year, and that's where we've stayed for the last few years. But already this year, early in 2018, we're seeing an increase in our calls. We're starting to get more calls at Wendell Falls. Some wrecks out there at the intersection, of course. And then with more people, obviously it means more EMS calls.
Right.
So that's the main thing, just the increase in growth. More calls. It's increased the size of our response district. So until we get out there, we're having to run about 5 miles for us to get out there. So
in 2016, the Wendell Fire Department achieved a new ISO rating. Tell me a little bit about that and what that means for property owners in Wendell. I remember that was a really big deal, and y'all are very proud of that. And so tell us about that. We are
super proud of that. Prior to 2016, we had an ISO rating of 4. Any area that was within 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant, which could also be some areas outside the city limits, because we do have fire hydrants that are in areas that are not just in the town's limits. And any area that was more than 1,000 feet from a hydrant, they were a class 9, which the ISO scale rating run from 1 to 10, 1 being the absolute best and 10 being well, you don't have any fire protection.
Right.
So we were at a 4.9, and then once we completed our ISO re-inspection in 2016, we lowered the rating from 4 to a 2. Anybody that's within 1,000 feet of a hydrant, and the rural district anywhere that's more than 1,000 feet of a hydrant, we lowered that from a 9 to a 3.
Oh, that's outstanding.
So we were very happy. Our residential customers who were in town, they didn't see a change in their insurance rates, because once you get to a 6 with the residential rates, the insurance rates are the same.
Okay.
But for every lowering of an ISO rating for your commercial properties, they did see a decrease. And of course, the areas that were outside that went from a 9 to a 3,
they saw change.
Basically a reduction of almost half of their insurance rates.
Wow.
So we worked hard for that. We worked almost 18 months on that, and we were very, very proud of our results.
Congratulations. It's always great when you set a goal, try to accomplish something, then you get it done.
Yes.
That always excites me, so that's good. Fire services today are very different from fire services years and years ago regarding education, training, and so forth. Talk to me a little bit about that and what's required now as compared to in the past.
Well, for our paid employees, all of our paid firefighters are required to have the state certification firefighter 1 and 2, which on average is a minimum 340-hour course. And they're also required to be EMTs, emergency medical technician, which is a minimum of 120 hours on the course. And they have to maintain continuing education to keep up their certifications. They're also required to have incident command training, which normally the 4 courses takes about 64 hours. And then some smaller ones like your bloodborne pathogens. But it takes a lot of initial training just to be certified for a paid firefighter. We don't require as much of our volunteers, but they still have to maintain training hours and participate, run on calls, and come back to training meetings. So even once our guys have these hours of their Con Ed, we're requiring them to get on a minimum 240 hours training every year for fire, and another 36 hours in medical training. So
they have ongoing professional development that's required of them.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Even the volunteers. The amount of training they're required to get annually is not as much as the paid staff, but they still have to maintain their certifications, their skill level, because when the pager goes off, we want them to be able to function.
You want them to be able to help.
Exactly.
To be a help, yeah.
Yes.
When we think about firefighters, we think that a lot of people think that they're just busy putting out fires, but there's a lot more to being a fireman than that. What do you do on a day when you're not out dealing with a fire or a call?
Well, every day when our guys come in, our shifts change at 8 o'clock. The shift coming on and the shift going off, they have a face-to-face meeting to tell each other what happened the day before, get them caught up on anything that's going on. And then the first thing they do in the morning is start checking off the equipment, make sure everything is working properly, their SCBA bottles are filled, the jump kits for EMS calls are full, everything is ready to go. And then once they've completed that part, they've got daily duties as far as maintenance on equipment. We do a lot of our own maintenance on our trucks. We have a pretty large fleet of vehicles, so we do a lot of our own maintenance to try to keep costs down. We also go out. We pre-plan businesses. We don't do the inspections for the town. Wake County handles that, but we still go out and do what we call as a pre-plan. We want to know what's in these commercial buildings. Also, if something was to happen after hours, who needs to be contacted, and so that sort of thing. So we update those files every year because changes happen. So we keep those ongoing. We also go out, check the hydrants, do some routine maintenance in coordination with the city of Raleigh from just it could be as minor as cutting around the hydrants and making sure that we can find them, to flowing water, make sure everything's working properly. We also do fire prevention programs. We have daycares that come to the station for tours. We go out to the schools, the churches, the Senior Citizen Center, Robinwood. We do a lot with fire prevention. So
I believe y'all install detectors as well.
We do a lot of smoke detector installation. We've been working hard on that. We got a grant through the Office of State Fire Marshal, and in a little over 18 months, we installed over 1,000 smoke detectors.
Oh wow!
And they're important. So
they are.
We'll use this time to remind people that if you're in Wendell Fire District and you need a smoke detector, call us. Our guys will schedule an appointment. We'll go out there and install them. The ones we're installing now are sealed. They have a 10-year battery. So
I was
you
getting
don't,
ready to say battery. I was going to
Yep.
ask you that next.
they if you've got older ones, you still need to change the
Yeah.
batteries. We recommend twice a year when
Okay.
time changes.
When time
But a lot of the newer ones now are sealed, where you don't have to change batteries. They just need to be replaced every 10 years. And also, anytime a smoke detector has been exposed to smoke, even if it was just a kitchen fire or anything like that, that detector needs to be replaced.
Okay. A lot of times when folks are just not sure who else to call, they very often will just call the fire department. So without putting you too much on the spot, tell me about some unusual calls that y'all have gotten.
Well, we get a lot of calls. First off, we do not get cats out of trees, and it's funny we still get that call a
Yeah.
lot of times, but we don't do that. We're not trained for that,
Yeah.
and so we don't do that.
People just think you've got that big ladder, or just come on and take care of that.
Yep, but we don't do that. We don't fill up swimming pools.
Yeah.
We don't do that. But going back to smoke detectors, we get a lot of calls that my detector's making a funny noise.
Yeah.
And invariably it becomes a dead battery. And it's funny how batteries always die at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
They never die in the afternoon or in the morning. It's 2 o'clock in the morning the batteries die. We have had people call us. Most recently, somebody needed help turning the water off in their bathtub. Called the fire department. So, but we get you're right. If they don't know who else to call, or if they call 911, they don't know who else to send, they'll send the fire department. And we just try to make everybody better than when they call, because we know when they call, they're having their worst possible day.
They feel like they were in a crisis of
Yep.
some kind, or they wouldn't be calling you.
And if we're not the right agency to help them, we at least try to get them the information to point them in the right direction. But you're right. We get a lot of
Well, thank you for
funny
that.
calls.
Thank you for that. Well, I want to thank Fire Chief Brian Staples for being my guest today on the Wendell Mayor Show, and for allowing us to film in the Fire Department Station 1. We're looking forward to Wendell Fire Department joining us on Big Truck Day on Saturday, June 23rd. That's always a lot of fun.
Right.
Little kids love to climb through the fire trucks. We are very fortunate in Wendell to have the Wendell Fire Department protecting and serving our communities. I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. We're glad to have y'all here today.
Thank you. On Saturday, June 23rd from 11 to 2 is Big Truck Day in downtown Wendell. If you're curious about what it's like to come and sit in the cab of a fire truck, a garbage truck, or a tow truck, come on down. This is a fun, exciting, and horn-blowing extravaganza for truck enthusiasts of all ages. Touching and asking questions about big trucks is welcomed and encouraged. On Wednesday, July 4th at 10:30 a.m., join the Wendell Historical Society for their 4th of July parade and celebration. The parade begins on Main Street at Wendell Boulevard and includes veterans, children in their most patriotic wear, and numerous bands. The procession marches its way to Town Square for a program appreciating military and recognizing our patriotic children. It's reminiscent of how Independence Day was honored in the good old days, quaint and wholesome observance for the entire family. Following the program are free hot dogs and fellowship.